Hey you guys, it's me again, Jenna, as you all know. I mean, who else would it be on my channel? But whatevs. Um, so I've been trying to do a video like all day today. I don't even know what time it is. It's like 3:45, and I'm just now getting around to doing a video today because every time I'm about to sit down and do this, my dog comes up and wants to walk. So this has been on delay for all day today. So today I've been kind of thinking actually, last few weeks about maybe, um, redoing this topic just because for a couple reasons. What I'm going to actually be talking about today is maybe like how I myself kind of got into horror movies and stuff and like all that stuff. I know I did a video like my like first couple of videos I know I did about this kind of like how I got into horror and everything and some of the stuff that I really that really kind of turned me on onto horror. But when I did that, I really I hadn't had my YouTube channel like to the public yet. I was mainly just doing it for like people on my Facebook page, like my personal page. And after a while, I was like, you know what? No one's really watching this on my page. Let me kind of try it out on YouTube. And I've been kind of sticking with YouTube for a while now. I know once in a while I'll post my videos up on Facebook because there's a couple of people who do ask about these videos for my that I actually personally know. So I'll post them usually most of my videos on my Facebook page. But yeah, I'm just I figured because of that, I know I kind of when I made my page public, I think I already had like a good dozen or so videos up. And I'm not going to ask you guys to go back and like revisit all my old videos. And honestly, I feel like my earlier videos, because I was getting so used to this, really aren't that great. Not saying that my videos now are really anything better, but definitely more comfortable with doing this. But let's get into it. So, like I said, I'm going to kind of talk about, some of the stuff that, got me into horror, how I actually got into horror movies and stuff. Um, of course, I've, probably my earliest introduction to horror was through my siblings, because I know I've mentioned, my siblings in a few videos. And for those of you who don't know, because I'm trying to think now, like if I've ever really specifically said like like the age differences between me and my siblings. Like I'm the youngest of four. My brother, who is the oldest, is literally like 10 years older than me. He was born in 74 and I was born in 84 and our birthdays are literally 2 days apart. No joke. Can't even like make that up. No joke. And then like my oldest sister, who is 9 years older than me, and then my other sister is like 3 and a quarter years older than me. So they're all, I mean, with the exception of my one sister who's like 3 years older than me, my other two siblings are like pretty like older than me. Like they're already in their 40s. Sorry. Um, but so like when I was growing up, like I said, I was born in 84, so by the time like, I was like 3, 4 years old, we're coming up on 87, 88, 89, when I was turning 5. And of course they were all, my brother and my oldest sister were, in their teens, coming into their teens, and of course already watching, horror movies. So I would always kind of, go down, sneak down and like watch these scary movies and stuff. And my mom would kind of like warn me. She's like, dude, like you're gonna get scared. You're gonna get scared. You're gonna have nightmares. Like, it's just a movie. Like, although I don't think my mom was quite that nice about it. She's like, dude, get over it. It's a movie, you know? Um, and bless her soul for letting me watch these. Because like I said, there's four of us. Like, always kind of like chasing after us, making sure like we weren't killing each other or anything. I think like by me watching horror movies, she's like, okay, if that's like the worst thing that you guys can get into right now for the night, go for it. Like as long as you guys aren't beating each other up or tying each other up, watch all the horror movies you want. I don't really care. Um, and it's kind of interesting because like when I was in preschool, like of course, when you're in preschool, you're like 3, 4, 5 years old, whatever. Um, of course, since I was already watching, like Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday 13th and the Halloween movies, I guess there was um, a- like a day where I went to preschool and I was talking about like Freddy Krueger and Jason and everything. And I remember like we had like two like preschool teachers. One of the ladies, I can't remember her name, but um, the other like teacher we had was Mrs. Sarasani, who, bless her soul, I guess the other preschool teacher, the whoever, I can't remember her name, I guess was kind of worried because she's like, oh my god, she's talking about like these people killing each other and being scared. Oh my god, I should call her mom. And Mrs. Sarasani's like, no, she's talking about horror movies. She's, I can tell you right now, she's talking about, like Friday 13th right now. And I guess the other teacher's really like, oh my god, like that's, oh my god, no, I need to call her mother. She can't be watching those movies. And Mrs. Sarasani, like, stood up for me and stood up for my mom. She was like, right then and there, she's like, no, you're not. Like, you know, she's the youngest of four. She's got four kids. Her brother's 10 years older, and, I can guarantee you right now that she's probably watching these movies because her older siblings are watching them. So I really don't think there's any issue. I think she's alright. She's just talking about them. She's excited about them. She's not emotionally scarred by this. So take a freaking chill pill. So, I to the Sarasani family, I will always be indebted to Mrs. Sarasani because she totally stood up for me, and my mom. So it's my girl. But just like little things like that, like even back then, back in like the late '80s, early '90s, like people were like, "What? You let your kids watch this?" Like whatever. So yeah, so obviously, like I really kind of got into, or I was introduced to horror movies through my siblings because, like I said, they were watching them, and I wanted to do whatever my siblings were doing. Um, whatever. So, so partially, I have to, because I always get people like, "Oh my god, why do you like those?" Or even like my siblings are kind of like, "Dude, why do you watch so many horror movies?" Your fault that I love these horror movies. You introduced them to me. Just saying. But I mean, there's so many other things too that I've come across growing up that really, really made me fall in love with horror movies. There's this book series, which I know I just did a video last night, kind of reading a couple of these stories, but the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark trilogy, like, huge influence on me. Those illustrations alone that are in that book are, like, creepy. Like, still to this day, I'm like, God, those are creepy. And some of my favorite illustrations in a book ever, like, still to this day, I'm in my 30s, my early 30s, and I still just so I love those. I love those books. Love those illustrations. Um, those the Goosebumps series too as well, which were a little later on for me. Probably like fourth-ish grade, like third, fourth grade, I'd say that I started to really kind of pick up with the Goosebumps uh, uh, books by R.L. Stein. Those two, I would go through those like freaking water. Like, it was crazy. Crazy how I went through those. Um, and don't worry, I'm drinking iced tea today. Still got some ciders in the fridge, but those are for later. Um, anyway, um, but yeah, like those books, and then there's couple of TV shows, actually, that probably really cemented my love of like horror content. Um, because like I said, I was introduced to horror movies at a very young age, but I think what really helped cement my love and appreciation for horror movies and like I said, horror content, a couple of shows. First one that I'll talk about is this old Canadian show that used to be on Nickelodeon back in the day. It used to be the last show on Saturday nights, part of their Snick lineup, which was kind of like at the time, um, because this was like way before like Teen Nick and more stations geared towards like adolescents. So it was like their teen shows and everything aimed for teens, for the teen audience. And that show was Are You Afraid of the Dark? Which, oh, like I have all 7 seasons. Yes, there were 7 seasons of that show on. Now I know like the last 2 seasons like were on later. I didn't really watch the last 2 seasons really as much. I think I had seen a couple of episodes when they initially aired. Because like when that show first came on, the first 5 seasons, um, at least here in the States, I know they were like maybe a year earlier for Canada. Like we didn't get them until like maybe a year later. But out here, it was like from 91 to like 96 that the first 5 seasons ran. And then in 99 to 2000, that's when like the last 2 seasons, with like a new Midnight Society cast with the exception of Tucker. It was all new. Tucker returned to tell stories. And like I said, like that one, those last 2 seasons, like I own them. I watch them once in a while. I mean, they've got some solid episodes, but I don't have as much of a connection to those last 2 seasons just because, I mean, I was, starting high school at the time, so I was kind of like, yeah, whatever. But like I said, I watched a couple of episodes when those 2 seasons first aired. But yeah, those first 5 seasons, like, I was actually watching a couple of episodes from season 1 the other night. Um, like some of the episodes I love from that show. I really feel like I should do like a review on that TV series. I just feel very overwhelmed in talking about an entire TV series right now because I feel like that's overwhelming to me. But like some of the episodes that like I truly love from that show is like the tale of the prom queen because I feel like that was the story behind or like the story. That's in that, like, I feel like that's one that I've read, countless times or, like, heard different variations of. Like, even, I think in Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, there's, like, a story or two that are very similar to that episode. And, like, even in other books, like, ghost story books, like, I've kind of read different versions of. And I think because I grew up with that story, love that episode. Another one that I love was the Tale of the Pinball Wizard. Because I mean, I love pinball, and it's actually also the title of one of my favorite Who songs too. So I love that. I love that. I don't think they necessarily did that title because of the Who, but who knows, maybe. But there's so many different episodes. I feel like there's something for everyone. Like each individual character of like the Midnight Society definitely had their own sort of like style of stories to tell, which was so fun to watch. And then also too that show had two of my favorite recurring characters. First one was Dr. Vic with a the love that guy. and then Sardo, no Mister accent on the dough. Love those characters, and those characters usually were at least in one episode each season a piece. So it was always, at least for me, it was always kind of fun when those characters came up or like their episodes came up for the season because, like I said, they were fun. They're real fun characters, and a lot of like stars were in that show. Like Nev Campbell in The Dangerous Soup was did an episode, and then like Ryan Gosling did an episode, The Tale of Station. I always forget like the station name. It's like 105.9 or something. Turn your dial all the way to the end. Find your way home. Gilbert Gottfried actually was also in that same episode. Just a lot of fun stuff. Like that's what I love about going back to some of the like horror movies and shows and stuff. Love those. Another show that I'm like, and like I don't even know why I was even like allowed to even watch this show. I think once again, I think just my mom was like, "You've already seen like horror movies. I'm not even gonna care." But huge impact to me, and I actually have. Sorry for like bending all the way back. I actually do have all 7 seasons of this too. Another 7th season series is Tales from the Crypt. And I know a lot of us who grew up on this show, this was really kind of like our sort of like bedtime stories for us. This too had so many great episodes, so many stars too that were in it. Oh my god, like Tim Curry, Leah Thompson, a lot of stars for like that date. Tom Hanks even did one. Yeah, Tom Hanks did a Tales from the Crypt episode. Like, what? And I think his wife actually did too. She did. Rita Wilson did an episode too. Separate episodes. But, dude, awesome, God, love this show. Some of the episodes I love on here, actually, too, like, first season. And just so you guys know, first season is the shortest at only 6 episodes. I know, that's crazy. Only 6 episodes in first one. I know you guys can't really see that, but it's only 6 episodes. The Man That Was Death, which was like the first one, with what's his name? Damn, I thought they had who starred in the episodes, but never mind. He was Death in Bill and Ted's Bogus Adventure. I've been in a ton of stuff. Is in that All Through the House was another one that I loved. There's one called Those Who Live in Brass Hearses that before I got the series, because I've had the series for like 7 or 8 years now. There's an Those Who Live in Brass Hearses. Like I remember that episode specifically for one reason. By the way, that episode has both Brad Dourif and Bill Paxton in it. So another couple of people who were in the show. Thing that always stuck with me about that episode before getting these is the fact that those brothers would walk around eating like sticks of butter, and it's like that's freaking disgusting. So, but yeah, I mean stuff like that. I just, like thank God for those 2 shows, because like I said, it really kind of cemented my love of horror content. So I love, so I didn't want to, like, be rude again and, like, try and put that back on my shelf. I probably could have, but whatever. But, like I said, I've always been, like, into horror movies and stuff, and kind of, like, the reason why is because of some of the things that I've mentioned of, like, growing up and really kind of has drawn me to it. And I'll be honest, like, for a period there, like, growing up, like, when I was still, like, in school, I didn't talk about it as much, because I was kind of picked on when I was in school, like all through school. So it was kind of like one of those things that I didn't really talk about. Like eventually I just didn't really talk about like watching horror movies or discussing it with people because there's so many people who were like, oh, you're stupid. Oh, you weirdo. Oh, and it's like now it's like all those same people who like picked on me, it's like they're the same ones who also freaking love horror movies and going to conventions and stuff, and it's like F you boys. Um, but oh god. Just I freaking love horror movies. As you guys could tell, I mean, obviously I talk about them enough. And one more thing that and sorry that this video is a little bit like longer than normal. Sorry. Um, Another thing that really kind of helped boost my love of horror is like certain channels, like sci-fi. Like sci-fi, literally, it's like been around for like 20 years now. I mean, because like back in the day when they first started, like they would play a lot of um, like older stuff. It wasn't all like Piranha and Sharknado or anything. It was like they did more of like it was like way before they started doing like their own movies and stuff. Which they got some decent movies. Not gonna lie. Like their Pumpkinhead movies that I now own thanks to Horror Pack. Um, like they would play some like lower budget, like obscure stuff. Like I remember, I believe it's called Ants. I think Gunnar Hansen, if I'm correct, is in it. Like I like it. That's not like the best movie, but I definitely like that's a movie that's like ingrained in my mind because it's just like like something about oversized bugs like that just oh so stations like that started coming around. Um, and then even like back in the day when we had video stores, like obviously almost everyone nowadays remembers like Blockbuster and stuff, but like Blockbuster was alright, but I definitely much preferred like the mom and pop um, video stores. Like I know we had one like right by my house, like maybe 2 blocks away. It was prime location because like that was like the perfect store because like the way that the shopping mall, there's actually two shopping malls. They were separate, but they were right next to each other. So like here's the one shopping mall. Here's the second one, literally divided by a little alleyway. That's it. And then and I guess sort of the firehouse at the time was still there. Like um, so I would go over to the video store, get my movies, and they usually always had this promotion of like 3 movies for 3 nights for $3. And I was like, weekend, little weekend thing. I loved going there because I would get that, stock up on horror movies, and like literally binge watch these like all weekend. I always remember like, checking out like all the Friday 13th movies, Halloween movies, Nightmare on Elm Street, The Gate, Lost Boys, just so many different movies. I remember stumbling upon a movie called Alice Sweet Alice, which sadly to say I don't own that movie, but it's definitely one that I love. It's been forever since I've seen that movie. So I would get like those movies. I would get my movies and like literally walk 2 doors down. Actually, no, on to the other side, to the other shopping center, little strip mall, and go to Mart Drug Home Health because they would have like these little like candy bins and everything where it's like back in the day where you had like, okay, this candy's 5 cents a piece, 10 cents a piece, 15 cents a piece, and then like different like candies for like packaged candies for like 79 cents to like $1 or something. So I would like stock up on candy, get my movies, and like make a night of it or make a weekend of it for myself. Like, so, but yeah, so those are, like I said, I just wanted to kind of like do another little like introduction to me of how I really got into horror movies. And maybe I'll do, um, like more of these, maybe elaborate more with some of the stuff that I mentioned, like down the road. So, but thank you guys. I know. Oh, excuse me. Oh, oh, sorry. A little like something stuck in my throat. Oh. Anyway, what I was trying to say, and I just wasted 10 seconds doing it, was thank you for letting me, kind of go over this. Like I said, I felt like I owed at least the YouTube fans world out there who, thank you for all of you guys who have been subscribing, because I don't really think, with the exception of like one person that I actually physically know in person, all the other guys who are like subscribing to me and liking to me and stuff and commenting, thank you, thank you. And I do try to like, respond to you guys pretty quickly or subscribe to you guys if you do your own videos and stuff. So just thank you for the support. I appreciate it. And for anyone on Facebook who's been liking my stuff, watching my videos when I post them, thank you very much. I know there's a couple of you guys out there on Facebook, like my Chan and a guy I used to work with at another store, Mike. Thank you, you guys, for the support. Appreciate it. I know there's a couple of other of you guys who are watching me. Thank you. So I will catch you guys later, and don't forget to click that subscribe button. Alrighty. Give me a couple of likes if you like. Maybe leave a comment here and there. But until then, you guys, stay creepy and stay classy as always.